Welcome back to All Chiefed Up. I am Steve Williams. I'm here with Mike Williams as usual, and we are looking into doing another mock draft for you guys. Getting pretty close to actual draft here, so I don't know how many more of these we'll get to do.
Yeah, we got a few more planned. We're trying to bring in some other podcasts. If you guys watch Kingdom Cast, we're bringing on Kylie Manning next week to do one. We're actually slated to do something on YouTube with Bro Schmo. I don't know how many people watch his stuff. He gets a lot of views on YouTube. So, yeah, we've got a few more, but we're only like 2 weeks away, I think.
Yeah, so we'll probably do this one. We might do a handful more, and it'll be actual draft time. So I'm kind of excited for it. I think I'm getting to that point where I am mocked out almost. So it's like I know all these players way more than I should, and I feel like I watched college football religiously all last season, even though that is a lie.
Yeah, like I feel like we've done so many mocks that I can just about know who is going to be there and who we're going to take. But at the same time, when draft night rolls around, it's going to be so different. We're going to just be really confused.
Yeah, it always is, but I'm always excited just to see like the players that we were big on. I want to see how they turn out next season. Because sometimes you just have you have an intuition about certain players, and it comes it comes true when they get out there on the field, and but sometimes you just way off base. So I mean, it's interesting to watch. Also, one thing I do want to do, I know that you've had your big board that keeps floating around. You have been updating it. One thing I want to do is just go ahead and do a solid uh, Chiefs picks, like what they're going to pick and who they're going to pick, and just like have one solid one before the draft starts, and that what we stick with, and see how close we get.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun to take our needs, which would probably be like, wide receiver, corner, safety, linebacker, defensive end, defensive tackle, defensive line in general, maybe some offensive tackle, and kind of just rank those players and rank that all as one big board and just leave off like, quarterbacks and things like that we're not going to
Yeah,
take, and see how big see what our big board looks like when it comes draft night. That would be a good idea. We'll get on that. Maybe Steve, you can get a website up or something in the meantime, or maybe
I'm.
we'll just tweet it out and put it up on something.
I really want to get a website going, just so we can, do some articles from time to time, things like that, some stuff for you guys to read on and things like that. Uh, just haven't had time lately. It's been pretty crunched up with everything. So, but I would like to get to that. Maybe we can get that going before the draft. So I'm glad to see that you're still in one piece, Mike. We actually just started this video just a minute ago, and we had to bail. We had to jump ship because of tornadoes coming through Kentucky. It got wild outside for a minute. Definitely saw some rotation and a funnel up in the air. So of course everyone had to get to safety and stuff, and this of course the sirens and everything. So yeah, Mike, you actually lost power, didn't you? So here we are starting over.
Yeah, my power flickered. It come back on. Next door neighbor lost a trampoline. I actually watched it get flown up in the air and hit a fence. So we went through some 70 to 80 mile an hour winds, but I think it's died down a little bit. And luckily we're still in one piece. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's up with Kentucky this year, but you'd think we're right in the middle of Tornado Alley the way it's been. So
yeah, winter
yeah.
just don't want to go away. I'm ready for warmth.
Yeah, me too. And well, let's go ahead and get this draft started. We are on walkthemock.com. We are using Mike's big board actually. So if it gets too wonky, we know who to blame.
What's funny? I was running walk the mock. I was running just some random ones, testing out my big board, and I have George Karlaftis rated like number 20 or so. But for
Yeah.
some reason, Detroit kept taking him at number 2, like over and over again. I was like, what is going on?
Now Detroit taking Thibodeau at 2 would not surprise me. I
Yeah,
feel like
so
that's something that could happen, but I don't think Karloftis would go that high.
no, so I do like these simulators are kind of weird. I don't really understand the
Algorithm.
yeah, I
You're
don't
like, what?
understand the
Yeah.
algorithm or why they do what they do, because it is my big board, but some of the players like that they choose to take are way down my list. So maybe they do it so it's got a little bit of a randomness to it. I'm not for sure, but
Probably that way you can't predict it every time.
I guess so. But yeah, so if George Karlaftis goes number 2 to Detroit, don't say I didn't warn you, even though that's never happening.
All right. So we'll go ahead. We'll just go ahead and do all 7 rounds. Of course, the 7th round picks there, we'll probably just fly through just, for the sake of getting through it. But we're really going to focus on these first 4 rounds. We're going to do no trades per usual. So we'll just stick straight up with the picks and see what we come up with. Went ahead and started the draft, and it is rolling.
Okay. So
So
while we're waiting to get to our pick, have you changed your mind yet on any trade up scenarios? Because we're hearing that Veach is not going to take all 12 picks, and trading up is a possibility. So have you changed your mind on any trade up scenarios, or are you still in the camp of zero trades?
So I'm never been in a camp of say zero trades, but I feel like with that much draft capital, with that many draft picks, that it's almost silly that you think we would draft all of them. So something's going to happen. I can't figure out what the Chiefs organization is up to when it comes to
Me,
that. I don't think they're planning on trading up early into the first round. I just don't see it. But there are going to be trades. I wouldn't be too surprised if they traded up into the early second round and use some picks to do that. That way you can get 29, 30 and still get, a handful of top 50 players. That wouldn't surprise me. But like I said, I'm not opposed to trades, but I just don't think there's going to be anything groundbreaking like trading up to get James Williams at number 10 or something crazy.
yeah, I don't see us getting into the top 15. It wouldn't be beyond me if you was to have maybe a Chris Olave fall to like 20 or 21. Maybe we jump up with New England or something. That wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think we're going up into the top 10 like everybody keeps thinking we're going to do.
No, I
It
don't
just
see
doesn't
it.
seem, it don't seem feasible. So, okay, so we're on the clock here. Traylon Burks just went to Green Bay. So what do we have on the board, Steve?
Uh, Looks like Trent McDuffie has fallen, cornerback from Washington. You actually have him at number 18 on your big board, and he's still sitting here at 29. I like that. Also, Jahan Dotson, you have at 25 on your big board. He's still hanging around. And then after those two, of course, you got your Kenyon Green, Kyler Gordon, Zion Johnson, Andrew Booth Jr., Brees Hall, Quay Walker. It's kind of a pick your poison at this point. I
Yeah,
would
this is
say,
the usual suspects here. I think Trent McDuffie slipping this low is good value. He does have shorter arms, which we kind of discussed earlier that he kind of, he falls into that Roger McCreary category, which I love Roger McCreary and so do you, but we keep
yeah,
hearing that the Chiefs won't take him because of their arm length. But McDuffie is a really smart football player, and it's been said that Kyler Gordon may go before him on draft night. We're hearing rumors of that. I don't know if that's true, but I don't think McDuffie in one of these two picks would be a bad idea.
no, I think McDuffie's the better corner between him and Gordon, but Gordon is by far and away a better athlete. So a lot of teams bank a lot on just that athleticism and the potential and the ceiling. So I could see Gordon flying up there.
Yeah, so I don't. Does Trent McDuffie, if we put him on this roster right now, does Trent McDuffie take a starting row at either corner? I don't think necessarily he does on day one. I think he maybe just plays, coverage in the nickel corner and maybe
Yeah,
works his way in, but I don't see him being better than Fenton on day one or Snead on day one, to be honest.
right. So where I'm at, I feel like it's good value to take McDuffie here, but I really don't see the Chiefs taking corner in the first round.
I don't either.
I just
I
don't think
like
it's
McDuffie
needed.
here. I think it's good value, but honestly, I just do not. I mean, if you was to get a Sauce Gardner to fall to us, which is never
Right.
happening, or Stingley, but that's not going to happen. So I just feel like at this pick, even though it's good value, I don't think
Yeah.
it's that big of a need in Kansas City that they value corner enough to go in the first round.
No, and if like Roger McCreary were to fall to mid to late second round, maybe that's something we could grab. And to me, he's just as good as McDuffie. So I
Yeah.
mean, why don't we spin this first pick? What do you want to look at? Like right now, my eyes kind of going to Jahan Dotson just because it's something a little different. I mean, everybody knows he's a good receiver and he does fit into a Chiefs scheme. But also, of course, the big thing has been edge rushers, and there's still David Ajabo, Arnold Ebiketie
Mm-hmm.
hanging around. So, where do you want to go? We get 2 picks in a row. So, how do you want to go about it?
So we've done so many of these, and every podcast and every YouTube channel is doing mock drafts until we're mock draft to death.
Yeah,
So instead of taking the usual suspects, How about we just kind of switch it up and do something a little fun today? Let's keep it within the realm of who we think fits Kansas City, but let's take some different players.
Okay.
So you take the first pick and I'll take the second pick. I have a guy in mind with the second pick, number 30, that I've not seen mock test a lot, but I kind of like him. So I'm going to save that surprise for you, but you give me a nice surprise here.
Okay, I'm gonna reach a little bit actually. According to your big board, I'm gonna go ahead and take Sky Moore at pick 29. Take the
I like that. I like it.
yeah, I'm gonna take the receiver that has, the short, quick burst and could fit into an Andy Reid scheme. I think that if we were to reach real high on a receiver, it's either gonna be him or Pickens, in my opinion. I
Yeah,
feel like that's the two that we like.
100%.
So I'm going to go ahead, for the sake of being different and everything. I'm going to take Sky Moore at pick 29. So who you got for us at 30, Mike? What's the surprise pick?
I think Sky Moore is a great pick. We're seeing that mock test more and more, but I feel like with his shiftiness and his route running ability, Sky Moore fits our system. So that is a great pick.
And his name is Sky with two Y's.
Yeah.
I mean,
he led the NCAA with tackles missed. So he's shifty.
he is.
So, okay. So with my second pick, I'm going to go out of the box a little bit and I'm going to work on the defense. But with my pick on the defense, I'm going to go with a guy that is very valuable in a Spags setting. And we did pick up a safety. We picked up who was it? It was Justin Reed.
All right,
so I'm going to take Lewis Cine.
Yeah. I knew it. I was even circling him with the mouse here.
Yeah, you were. I love Lewis Cine at 6'2", 200 pounds. He hits hard. He flies around. And I believe with the safeties being so valuable in a Spags defense, I think that adding him that can come down in the box and just be a monster, I like that pick.
Yeah, I actually I do like that pick. I'm a little bummed out right now because the Saints just took Roger McCreary one pick ahead of us in the second round, and that's who I was kind of going to shoot for in the second round.
Yeah, I love McCreary.
Yeah, well, let's see what we got available. We actually still have Brees Hall, Jalen Petrie still on the board here in the second round, pick 18. That's
so a lot of people think Petrie does what Honey Badger does, and I see that to a degree. So Lewis Cine, maybe people would say, hey, that don't fit us as well as Petrie. But I like Lewis Cine. I actually have Cine ranked just right below Dax Hill. And some people don't have him that high up, but I had Lewis Cine, what was it, like 35 on my big board? So I've got him at a borderline first round pick. So
yeah,
I think you're probably better off working on probably the defensive line somewhere, edge or something, because it starts getting pretty thin after the second and third round.
It's a little dicey. We well, I just went to edge rusher, so
I love Drake Jackson.
Yeah, we got Drake Jackson here. Cam Thomas. I like Cam Thomas. I'm bigger on Kingsley Nogbre than a lot of people are. Sam Williams, I like him. Myjai Sanders, he has gained his weight back. Just to throw that out there. I think that he's polished, and I feel like he would blend into the league pretty easily. Myjai Sanders, as long as he maintains his weight, because I think here it actually says he's 228. That's not the case anymore. I think he's back up to the 245 range. So also you got Amari Barno, Josh Pascal. There's some good players here. I think out of this group, if I were to pick one, I would lean towards Cam Thomas or Kingsley Nogbre. That's just me. I know you like Drake Jackson as well. So I'm going to let you take this first pick in the second round, and I will take the second pick. So
okay,
I want you to pick who you want.
So, shout out to RGR football. I watch a lot of RGR and different things. 1 hour ago, they just released a new video on YouTube that I've not got to check out. And it's titled, "Is Edge Rusher Sam Williams a fit for the Chiefs defense?" We discuss. And I've yet to see what they say. So if I go Sam Williams, then RGR says, hey, he's a bum. I'm going to, I don't want to fight RGR on this.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I don't have my guys mixed up, I think that the dude from RGR, he's big on Cam Thomas.
They like Cam Thomas
way up there in his.
Okay, so when I went back and watched all my edge rushers, I actually put Drake Jackson. He's pretty similar to Cam. Drake is at 65 and Cam Thomas is at 67, and Nogbre is right below them at 73. So with Drake Jackson, I just feel like Jackson has like a faster first step than Cam Thomas, but I feel like Cam Thomas probably plays the Spags like sets the edge better. Does that make sense? And then, of course, with a Nagbare, he's the high motor guy. I kind of
Right.
like that. He's kind of like the Arnold Ebiketie of the second round if Ebiketie slides into the first.
Yeah.
But
So
I'm
now
gonna
if
go
you
ahead and take. Go ahead. You can say what you were gonna say.
I was just saying if you're trying to compare stat wise, it's hard to compare Cam Thomas and Kingsley Nogbre because they played two different leagues basically. Nogbre was playing in the SEC, and of course Cam Thomas at San Diego State. Now, if you look at their stats, though, Cam Thomas just absolutely swamps him. Cam Thomas, 71 tackles, 20 and a half for loss, and 10 and a half sacks, and one forced fumble. Anagbre, only 43 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, and 2 passes defended, and one forced fumble. Now, so it's hard to compare those two stat wise, but my point that I'm getting to, if you scroll on down just a little bit, Sam Williams also played in the SEC, and his stats are quite a bit better than Kingsley's. So he's actually got 8 more sacks than Kingsley Nogbre. He's got 8 more tackles for loss than Kingsley, and then just overall, he has 3 more forced fumbles and 14 more tackles. So
Yeah.
they're like, they were playing similar competition. Those two
Yeah.
were.
Sam
So
Williams is more of the get after the quarterback. He's got a really high motor too. I like Sam Williams. I honestly, he's in my top 100. If you're a top 100 player, that means you are a day 2 player. So, I mean,
yeah,
honestly, I think he's a day 2 player. Is it a little rich right at this one? Maybe. But I have heard he's got a lot of interest coming from like Dallas and different things. Dallas actually said he was like Micah Parsons from last year. That's how high they are on him. So, I'll just throw out 2 names and I'll let you pick which one you want. Do you want Sam Williams or do you want to go with Cam Thomas? I feel like Cam Thomas is more like the Karloftis. He don't have as many moves, but he sets the edge and he's tough. Sam Williams is more just the pass rusher guy at first. And at 261, he's not overly small, but he
so
probably don't set the edge like they want. Kind of almost like the way Frank Clark. Like Frank Clark, don't get me wrong, he's great, but I don't feel like he's a stereotypical Spags defensive end, to be honest.
I don't know. I think Frank does pretty good setting the edge, but it's I think personal opinion out of the two players, I do tend to lean more towards Sam Williams, but we have taken Sam Williams in some of these mock drafts. We have not taken Cam Thomas. So for the sake of just being different, I'm going to take Cam Thomas here, if that's
I
okay.
like it. Yep.
So we'll take him, and then we'll see what falls to us here at pick number 30 in the second round. So where are we sitting at? We have Sky Moore, Lewis Seen, and Cam Thomas. So far, so good. I'm just going to go back and look at the big board. Looks like the top person on the big board right now is Isaiah Spiller, the running back from Texas A&M.
I see your guy.
George Pickens is still on this board. That's insane,
Yeah.
and it makes me want to take him. But
I would almost consider doubling up wide receiver here because him and Sky Moore do totally opposite things.
they do.
And we have so many guys on contract years or only on 2-year deals. So it would make sense if you could lock up 2 wide receivers here.
It would.
Kansas City does not have many needs that are glaring. So I think we could afford, if we're going to set in a position where we're not trading any picks, I think you are more than justified to double up on a wide receiver.
Okay, I'm good with that. That's probably what we're going to do, just to explore another option. There are 2 great tight ends sitting here, Trey McBride and Greg Dulcich. I think those 2 are by far and away the best 2 in the draft when it comes to tight end. So if we were looking to go ahead and get that guy that can maybe come in and be ready to go when Kelsey's on his way out, one of those 2 guys would be perfect. So, but I'm with you. I think, we have room to play, and
But
we
you
do
do
need
have
to.
a lot of wide receivers in the 3rd round that can do this same exact role. So I don't know if they're exactly George Pickens size, but you've got some receivers down the board. It's a pretty deep class for wide receiver, to be honest. So it's on you. It's whatever you want to do.
Let's do something a little different. I'm gonna skip on George Pickens for now. Most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, I'm gonna take him right here. Even
Oh
doubling up
yeah,
on wide receiver with Sky Moore, that would be perfect.
great value
Um,
at this point.
but just for the sake of being different, I'm gonna go ahead and do something different and take Trey McBride. I do think that I could be wrong, but I feel like Dulcich is more of the Travis Kelsey type receiver than McBride. But I feel like McBride's kind of got that George Kittle thing going on where he's still amazing receiver.
Dude,
And
McBride had 50 more receptions and 500 more receiving yards.
he did. But
But he don't get in the end zone as much.
if you watch the tape, I feel like Dulcich is more the big play, yards after catch guy like Kelsey. And Trey McBride, he's very similar to George Kittle, but he does definitely have the edge on the blocking and everything. I'm going to go ahead just for some different. I'm going to take Trey McBride right here at pick 30 in the second round, and we'll see how it
Mhm.
plays out. Maybe we can start looking for another receiver, or maybe
Hey,
start looking,
I like
to
Trey McBride here. I think it's a good pick.
yeah. So here we are, third round, pick 30. It looks like if we wanted to go receiver, there's a real good corner still on the board right here. I do like Tariq Woolen. He's long, fast, and sticky. He's everything you want in a corner. If we wanted to go ahead and go with another receiver and double up on receiver, it looks like our best option right now is probably Wandale Robinson from Kentucky, but we did just take him in our last draft.
And he does the same as Sky Moore. Pretty
And
close.
yeah, and Taekwon Thornton. I do like this guy. He intrigues me because he's big, tall, and he can flat out fly if like a 4.240 in the combine.
I watched more film of Taekwon Thornton, and his film actually gets more impressive. Like, I do believe he's going to have a chance to come off the board in late round 2, early round 3 now, because he shows signs that he will block. He runs pretty good routes and he makes contested catches. And I think with that 4.2 speed he showed at the combine, Taekwon Thornton could get into the, early third round pretty easily.
I agree. If it was up to me right now, Mike, I would probably not want to pass on Tariq Woolen, cornerback, because we have not taken a corner yet. That is a need that we could fill, and I feel like he would fit in really well with L'Jarius Sneed and Rashad Fenton. I feel like he would, fit right in there. And
Yeah,
he has a very high upside.
my only thought would be that his size, if Fenton and Sneed are going to be your starters on the corners, then he's got to cover a lot of like the nickel. He's got to cover running backs and slot receivers. And can a 6'4" guy cover a slot receiver? Like, could you see him matched up on Hunter Renfro and being able to like stay with his quickness? That's
Well, I
what
mean,
scares me about him. But as you said, maybe he goes to the outside and Fenton comes in and does the nickel a little bit. Or
I wouldn't
I'm
be too
just
worried about him being in the nickel, to be honest. I mean, the guy can flat out fly. He's a speed demon. So I don't feel like it'd be that bad for him. And I feel like he'd have a reach advantage on a lot of those slot receivers. So if he could stick with them, he's going to make a lot of
yeah,
plays on the ball.
he's definitely a project guy, because coming from Texas San Antonio, I'd say
Right.
his play level was low. He's probably going to have to work on technique a lot more. But I mean, I'm fine with taking him. We're in the third round. We're late in the third round. I mean, this is where you take those kind of players.
I
So
think
I'm fine with it if you want to take it.
let's do it. Let's do it. Let's take Woolen and we'll see what falls to us at 39 here. And I'll let you take that pick. So I'm going to take Woolen now. You take the pick at 39. So right now, just a quick recap: Sky Moore, Lewis Seen, Cam Thomas, Trey McBride, Tariq Woolen. Absolutely love the way this is turning out, especially since we've just been kind of taking things a little more off the wall, a little different. I would be happy with what's going on at this point. So, with that being said, Mike, where do you want to look for this pick here?
Look, I'm going to go unconventional, and I still think linebacker would make sense here.
Yep.
So let's just look at the linebackers and see if there's anybody I absolutely love. If not, I'm thinking about going a totally different way. Jocho Doman, I like. He's a speedy guy. He can cover. I really like Jesse Luketa. I've been watching film on him, and I think he's eventually going to come down and just be a pass
Edge.
rusher on the edge,
Yeah.
he's kind of like a poor man's Nick Bonito. He's a little thicker than Nick Bonito. He's not as twitchy, but I did watch
He's
some of his stuff at the Senior Bowl, I believe, and he looked pretty good, to be honest.
I watched some Lakita footage as well. I think he's very similar to another player in this draft that's probably lower on the board, but I actually think I prefer the other player, and that's Jeremiah Moon from Florida.
Okay.
Like they're very similar players.
Yeah, I don't see nobody who's below Josh Ross. Josh Ross is going to play inside, so he's a good player, but he's the inside.
Um,
So Kobe McLean, I really like, but I'm afraid he may be stuck inside as well. So I'm not really seeing a true outside linebacker right here.
Now I think at this point, unless you wanted to
Now,
grab
the only guy that kind of intrigues me here, and he's not your stereotypical linebacker, he's probably going to come down and rush the passer as well a little bit. But Christopher Allen from Alabama, I watched some film on him, and barring his injury, I think he would have been at the latest, an early day 3 pick or a day 2 pick. I like him, but again, I don't know how he'd fit in with our defensive linebackers. Like, I don't know if he's athletic enough to cover and play the weak linebacker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my thing is right here where we're at in the draft. I feel like at this point we didn't take uh, a linebacker early enough to get one of them top tier guys. So I feel like you're not getting much of a drop off if we were to skip now and take one
No,
later.
I agree.
I feel like
So,
far and away JoJo Doman's the best one on the board, but he's not exactly what we need. So
so
um,
I'm going to go to offensive tackle. I want to look at that. I think offensive tackle is a position that if we pick 12 picks, then we definitely need to invest some capital in offensive tackle. So my favorite guy on the board right now is Sean Ryan. I'm just not for sure if they're going to kick him inside the guard. And that's the same with Zach Tom. I love Zach Tom from Wake Forest, but I'm afraid they're going to kick him into guard. Now, is that a bad thing? Probably not, because it doesn't hurt to have depth. Rasheed Walker's a project. I really like Darien Kenard, but I'm afraid that he's lost some weight now and they may try to kick him in at guard. Max Mitchell
Kennard's a
is a
pretty big dude.
beast. So I don't know. But let's take one of these tackles. So I'm gonna throw it between Kenard and Sean Ryan. I'll let you be the judge of which one of those. I like
Mhm.
Rasheed Walker, but I believe Rasheed Walker's a project, and I believe it's a little too rich for him at this point.
Just because I'm a Kentucky homer, I'm gonna go ahead and take Kennard.
Okay. Well, we've not seen Kennard draft and mock to Kansas City, so that sticks with our theme.
I mean, he's got good size. I really don't think he'll get kicked inside. He's 6'5", 322. I mean, if anything, he's going to put on more weight when he gets to the pros. So I think he'll be a solid tackle if you need him. So
I
we'll
mean,
take
that's one
him.
thing Kentucky football is known for, is their offensive line work. So
Yeah.
I like the pick.
All right, good deal. So here we are in round 4, pick number 16. I'm going to go look at all on the big board just to see what's up. Uh, Nothing's jumping off the page at me right now. I think where my mind is at, since we have
It
touched on a
didn't
lot of,
it
did
didn't
not
go
get
to
everything.
all. It just went
Okay,
to tackle again.
I see. Oh, okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah.
Nope, you did it again. Nope, there it goes.
No, it's good. Nothing jumping off. Like I said, nothing jumping off the board at me still. I do think maybe since we have covered corner, edge, offensive tackle, safety, even. I think
I
let's
think
go
you
ahead
can
and
start
see
doubling up,
on a
or
wide
you could,
receiver. I want to go ahead and take a look at
yeah.
another wide receiver before we get too late in the draft. Um, right now on the board, we got a couple of speed demons with Kevin Austin Jr., Bo Melton. Also, we got Jalen Tolbert still on the board. I've seen him
Now,
mock to the Chiefs
if
quite a
you
bit.
scroll down to about 146, you have Justin Ross on the board. Now, the reason I've got him ranked at 146, I put a 5th round grade on Justin Ross, and because of his injury history. And I just watched a doctor talk about Justin Ross. Apparently, he's got a problem with some vertebrae in his neck, and they're afraid that one bad hit and Justin Ross may not be able to play football again. And that,
That's
I
scary.
think, will scare some people. And I mean, that scares me because he's a good dude, and like, you don't want to see him injured. But like, I really do believe that injury may cause Justin Ross, as talented as he is, to fall into the 5th or 6th round. But I
Yeah.
think at this point, that's good value on a Justin Ross, especially compared to what he does and how big he is. I got Justin Ross as a comp, his comp is like almost like a poor man Julio Jones. Like he's that kind of player.
Right. So we were talking about doubling up earlier with George Pickens, and I feel like obviously I think Pickens is a better receiver than Ross, but they're kind of the same in their style and what they
Mhm.
do. So I like that pick. So let's do Justin Ross here, and that gives us the opposite of Sky Moore there.
Yeah,
It gives us
I
a
like
little
that pick.
flexibility out in the wide receiver
I think
position.
reaching on Justin Ross with maybe some injury history, Kansas City with all of our draft capital, we could afford to do that.
Right. I mean, that's paid off great for us in the past. I mean, look at last year.
Yeah, and I mean, if somebody falls into the 7th, we've got 4 in the 7th. We can always just triple up the receiver. Who cares?
Yeah. So
So
I
I
think,
think at this point, I would try to double up probably corner or edge if you want to kind of just
yeah. And
filter those
I
out.
was already thinking edge. So we are on the same page. I've seen three guys so far that I do like. That being, um, sorry, D'Angelo Malone. I like him. I also like Tyreek Smith from Ohio State, and I am a fan of Dominique Robinson from Miami of Ohio. Out of those guys, if I wanted to take a shot on one, I want to see who else is still on the board for edge before
Can
I.
you can you look at defensive
Ooh,
line in general? Because we've not looked at an interior defensive lineman either, and I think that's a need.
yeah, we can do that. Let's take the edges off here, and just go to D line. Looks like we got Hinton from Michigan, Agbanya. I don't know how you say
Yeah,
that.
his stats are really low. I don't know if he was injured last year or what, but I seen him at the Senior Bowl, and that dude was actually getting to the quarterback. Like he was causing a little bit of trouble. So I don't know why his numbers are so low. Because all the film I can watch on him. Pop, who was on the podcast, if you go watch the YouTube video that we have up on YouTube of our mock draft 6.0, he absolutely loves Noah Ellis, which I have him ranked down here as about a 5th round pick. He's got
Yeah,
Noah Ellis in his top 100. He loves Noah Ellis. I've
'cause he's
not
so
been able
big.
to watch
I don't
tons
know.
of film on him, but I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to taking something like that. But I don't know if we need a guy that's going to be like a nose tackle.
He's also a DJ Dale fan.
He likes DJ Dale. I
Is
probably need
that
to
his name from Alabama?
maybe I probably need to dig in more to some defensive linemen. I've kind of stopped after about the top 10 to 15.
Right. Well, Neil Farrell's still on the board. We were hot on him early. It's kind of died down a little bit, and I feel like he has slipped down some draft boards. But I mean, if you look at his size and his stats from last year, I mean, he's getting in the backfield. He had 9.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 passes defended, even. So he's one of those
Mhm.
guys that gets his hands on the ball at the line, kind of like Chris Jones. So he's
So
all, he's there for the taking.
yeah, are there any corners left? Because it's never too bad to double up on a corner as well. I'm trying to be quick with this because I don't want to
Drag it
be.
out, yeah.
How about we take I don't know about Jalen Armour Davis
You know
either.
who
He's not my favorite one out of that one.
I kind of like Castro Fields from Penn State. I watched some of his stuff. I know his stats weren't like jaw dropping or anything, but if you watch his tape, he's a good cornerback. I feel like he's got some reach, pretty good size. He's a bigger corner at 6 foot and 197.
Yeah, there's a
Um,
few corners I like at this round. I think Darien Kendrick's decent value. He's slower, at least they say he is. I like Vincent Gray from Michigan. He's 6'2". You want to talk about another ginormous corner.
right.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if we got another guy here, we should probably take a more polished cover guy that could possibly cover the nickel just in case Tariq Woolen couldn't do it. So I think it rules out Josh Williams. I think it rules out Mathis and Armour Davis. I kind of like Kalon Barnes in a way. He ran a 4.2. He almost had the fastest 40-yard dash of any player since. I mean, I think he was like 0.13 seconds away from having the fastest 40 ever recorded.
Who? Kalen Barnes?
Yeah, he's 5'11", 183. So he could probably cover that slot.
He wasn't faster than Thornton, was he?
I think they both ran a 4.2. Dude, Baylor sent a track team to the combine. They didn't send a football team. They sent the track team.
pretty much.
Let's take Kalen Barnes just for the
Okay.
sake of being different. Let's double up and take the smaller guy here. I mean, 5'11", 183, not super small, but like I said, I feel like I want somebody that can cover the slot if Tariq Woolen can't do it for some reason.
All right, cool. So we're going into our last picks, which will be in the 7th round when we get there. So just for the sake of going ahead and wrapping this up, I think let's pick position and we'll just go best player available and just wrap it up. And so right now we still need a defensive insider. We never did that. So let's
Yeah,
just
how
go
about you
see.
just go to all, and then is the first player of need on the board, we'll just take it.
Okay. Um,
So we don't need probably another wide receiver. We could probably use another edge if you'd like. We haven't doubled up the edge yet.
do you want to do that? Yeah. What do we got up here?
We got Deshaun
Dixon.
Dixon and Jeffrey Gunter. I like both of them pretty much. I mean, on a 7th round pick, I don't think you go wrong on either. I think Gunter has pretty good numbers to play at Coastal Carolina. Carolina actually was ranked in the top 15 at one point.
Yeah. So if that's what you want to do, we can do that.
If you want to take him early, you can go for it. I would like to take a running back at some point here.
Yeah, I've been a fan of Darren Ely from the
Yeah,
beginning
you
too.
love
Took him a
Jerry
lot
Neely.
early. He's just fast and shifty. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna make the call here. You just want to go ahead and do a let's
Let's take
do
another edge.
let's take Deshaun Dixon from Norfolk State.
Take him. He's a little guy we don't know much about. I mean, well,
I mean,
I
he's
know
not a
much
little guy.
about him. I've watched him, but I'm just
He's
saying
just
he's a small college guy that most
yeah.
people won't know. But he's, at this point in the draft, I think he's worth a shot.
Yeah, Vincent Gray's still out here for cornerbacks. Do you do that? We already doubled up. Or do we maybe look at another wide receiver?
You still got Jalen Weidermeyer on the board, by the way. After that horrible combine and
Yeah,
everything, he's still rated. He fell out of the top 200. I don't know
yeah.
if by the end of it, I'll keep him out of the top 200 because honestly, that dude on film does not look as bad as he tested.
No, he looks
So
great on film. Like
it's
he's
very
a good
weird.
tight end, but
Kansas City actually brought him in for an interview. So they like him, I think.
yeah, I mean,
So
sometimes it's not all about the little
yeah,
measurable
so
things,
maybe you take him. I know it's another tight end, but it's like Weidermeyer may be able to play a
Now
little
we
bit of
don't have a
the.
defensive insider, Marco McCall from Kentucky still on the board. We already took one Kentucky guy though, but I mean that's decent value for him. He's good on the inside there. Of
Yeah.
course, they play like a 3-4 in
Yeah,
Kentucky,
he's
and
a
he plays a
nose
nose
guy.
tackle,
So
so it's be a little different for him. But yeah, what do you want to do, man? I'll let you pick.
let's just take. Let's go ahead and just take best player available. Let's go ahead and just take Danny Gray. Let's
Danny
say
Gray.
Justin Ross can't overcome his injury. Let's get another speed guy.
Okay.
And then you can take somebody here.
I'm just going to take best player available, Marcus McKeithen,
Oh yeah,
offensive
he's starting
tackle
to come
from
up
North Carolina.
boards.
He's 6'6", 340, good size and everything. We'll see what he can do here.
He's starting to come up boards a little bit. So I
And
like
with the
that
last
pick.
pick in the draft, let's do Darien Ely just to
Yep.
get a running back in the mix.
Here he is, Jerry Neely.
Boom. All right. So just a quick review of what we did here. We had round 1, pick 29, Sky Moore, wide receiver from Western Michigan. Pick 30 in round 1, Lewis Seen, safety from Georgia. Love those first 2 picks, by the way. I think it's a little bit different than what we've done in the past, but I think those are great picks. And then we came back in the 2nd round and got Cam Thomas and Trey McBride. Once again, different than what we've done in the past. Absolutely love it though. Like I would be ecstatic if this is what we did. I would be kind of pumped about it, to be honest, because there's a lot of good things going there. And then round 3 at pick 30, we took Tariq Woolen, cornerback from UTSA. And at pick 39 in round 3, we took Darien Kenard, the offensive tackle from Kentucky. So once again, hit a couple more needs as far as what the Chiefs need there. Tariq Woolen, I love his athleticism, his speed, and he's pretty tall for a corner. So it'd be interesting, like you said, if we had to use him in the nickel to see how that worked. But I think he's fast enough to stick with those little slot receivers. So I like it. And then in the 4th round, we got a steal on Justin Ross there. to go along with Sky Moore and the receivers. He does a lot of different things that Sky Moore don't, and vice versa. So I think that's a good combo to throw into the wide receiver room. And then at pick 30 in round 4, we got Kalen Barnes, cornerback from Baylor, also a speedster. So yeah, we got a lot of speed in the secondary. If you look at that, Kalen Barnes and Tariq Woolen, they've had 2 of the fastest 40 times in the entire combine. So we got a lot of speed, and speed speed is obviously a good thing to have in the secondary, especially since a lot of teams. Tyreek Hill kind of shifted. Tyreek Hill and Cooper Cup and some of those smaller receivers kind of shifted. What kind of receiver these teams want in NFL nowadays. So your cornerbacks also naturally are going to have to progress into more speed to keep up with these guys. So I mean, I'm okay with that. And then to round it out in round 7, we actually got 4 picks in round 7. We took Deshaun Dixon, edge rusher from Norfolk State. We got another speed demon and Danny Gray, the wide receiver from SMU. Marcus McKeithen, offensive tackle from North Carolina. And then we rounded it off with Jarian Ely, running back from Mississippi. Small, fast, shifty, can receive out of the backfield. I feel like he would fit good into an Andy Reid system. So overall, I would rank this draft probably a solid B minus, to be quite honest, B minus to B. I would be happy with it. I think it could be better executed, but like I said, we did things to just be a little different this time around. What do you think about the overall draft here, Mike?
I think Sky Moore is not beyond the possibility of what we're probably looking at in the first round. It wouldn't surprise me if we really didn't call Sky Moore's name. He fits our offense well. Lewis Seen is a great athlete. I think he'll be a good safety. Cam Thomas sets the edge and does what we probably need. Trey McBride, perfect to go along with Kelsey. And then from there, I think our next few picks, we kind of went with a lot of project players. Woolen, Kenard, Ross, Barnes. Are these guys going to hit? Are they going to be solid starters, or are they just going to kind of get lost in the mix in a few years? I don't know, but I feel like that's the kind of the speed of Woolen and Barnes and the overall raw potential of Ross and Kennard. You kind of have to take that shot, especially if you're going to have 12 draft picks. You got to take shots at some of those players and just keep throwing darts till you hit a bullseye.
They all
And
have a high ceilings, man. They
yeah,
all
that's what
do.
I think. So I think, the first 4 picks are solid. The next 4 picks could be really solid, or they could be, average. You don't know. And then, of course, the 7th round's the 7th round. It's a shot in the dark, but all those players I think could come in and at the worst be some camp bodies, So
Right, and you never
I think it's
know,
a pretty good draft.
with the speed and the athleticism of Danny Gray and Jaren Ely, those 7th rounders could come in and make an impact. You just never
Yeah.
know.
Well,
Uh,
Dixon too. Dixon and McKeithen, North Carolina's offensive line with Sam Howell, they let up a lot of sacks on Sam Howell. But when it come to individual workouts, teams are falling in love with their individual offensive linemen, and it's kind of strange. But here we are, and they're loving them, which doesn't make sense. But I don't know. Maybe they just wasn't cohesive as a unit, but individually they're awesome. So who knows?
all right. Well, good deal. Like Mike said, we will be doing a few more mock drafts before we actually get to the real thing here in a few weeks. We do have some guests coming on next week. We're going to have Kylie Manning from Kingdom Cast. Is that correct?
Yep.
And then Broshmo from YouTube. He's also going to jump in here and do a mock draft with us as well. So looking forward to those. Definitely probably going to get to see a different perspective when we have somebody else in the mix that
That's
we
what I'm
haven't talked
excited
to a lot.
about. Yeah, for sure.
So, it's easy to get stuck on the same players over and over again in your own mock drafts because, personal preference and what you've seen and what you haven't seen. So it'll be cool to get a different perspective. That's why I also enjoyed having Pops on yesterday in the video to do one. So we'll probably have him back on for one more before the draft. And then, like we were saying earlier as well, we are going to make a board of who we think the Chiefs will actually take according to needs. And we might even go ahead and take a shot on just every pick the Chiefs take and who they take and just see how close we can get. Uh, uh, Track record here, I did get 3 picks right in one draft. That's the best I've ever done. I think it was a year they took Derek Nottie, Armani Watts, and there was one other one that I nailed. I got those three guys, so that's the best I've ever done. I don't think I could top three.
Yeah, I think the only pick I've got right over the past like 5 years, I think, did we call Clyde Edward Hilaire or
No,
no? I don't
absolutely
think
not.
we did. But the last one I can remember that I nailed in the first round was Marcus Peters. That's the one I hit on the head.
You did do that. I remember that. Of course, the last couple of years has been a little odd, to say the least.
Yeah.
Which last year, Nick Bolton, that pick last year, I was super excited with that pick because all of our mocks last year, Nick Bolton was projected to go in the first round. He was one of the top dudes, and we got him, in the second, and he was a monster last year. So
We've been looking at those RAS scores, right? Looking at the relative athletic score, and we're wanting guys like Weidermeyer. He looked horrible, and he rated super low, and so he's dropping. And then you got Tariq Woolen, who rated super high, and he's flying up boards. Do you know what the RAS score was on Nick Bolton?
was it bad?
He was horrible. He was like a 4.
Yeah. See, that's the thing about. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Sometimes it's not all about these measurable things.
No, it's
Like,
football IQ and its willingness to be good at what you do.
well, a lot of it's just having a knack for what you do. And like
Mhm.
it is just something that Nick Bolton has in him. Like he has intuition and he is smart and he works hard.
Right.
And
So your 40 times and your verticals and things like that, even your arm length and your hand size, that only tells you what you are. It don't tell you what kind of person you are and how hard you're going to work, how much
yeah,
you love the game, how much time you're willing to put in. That's why for me, I don't look down on a David Bell that much. I think on the field, David Bell produces, and because he run a 4.640, people don't see that he has Jerry Rice traits or he has Larry Fitzgerald traits. They just see 4.640 horrible. And
right.
I just think that's unfair for some of these guys. And I've been digging into some of their personal stories, and these guys are pretty likable. If you start looking into individual guys, like I watched a story on Roger McCreary the other day, and I mean, I absolutely love his family and the way they are. And those are high character guys that you just don't see during stats. But obviously, these teams take interviews and they see that. And that's something we can't put in account when we do these mock drafts. We just can't do
Exactly.
that. We don't get that individual time. So take
Yeah.
these for what they are with a grain of salt, and know that whoever Brett Veach and them settle on, so far they've been pretty good at like hitting good kids and good football players. So
Yeah. Sometimes, that hunger, that drive to be the best goes a lot further than your 40 time.
yeah, for
So,
sure. Nick
and
Bolton, case in point, he's a monster.
yeah. So, guess we'll end on that. We'll wrap this thing up. Thanks for joining us, guys. We know that we have kind of mock draft you guys to death along with everybody else, uh, you know, podcasting and YouTubing
Hey,
and everything else. But
but
it,
be careful what you wish for, because when this mock draft leaves, it's going to get really slow, guys. It's going to
yeah,
be slow in the football world for a few
yeah.
months.
Once that draft is over, probably when the freshness of that wears off,
Yeah,
it could get a little sketchy. But we'll keep you guys entertained as best as we can, and we'll talk Chiefs football and probably a lot of other things. So,
yeah, for
uh,
sure.
stick with us and thanks for joining us. Make sure that you guys go and hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification here on YouTube, and then you guys listen on the podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe. If you're just catching a clip of this, on TikTok or Twitter or whatever, hit up our link tree. You'll see where we're at. We don't really use Instagram as much as the rest, but we're getting there. But yeah, just follow us on everything. Stick with us. Go ahead and shoot us some questions. Interact with us. We'll get back to you as soon as we can with that. So that being said, you got anything else, Mike, before we take off?
Oh man, I'm good. I'm ready to enjoy the weekend. And well, when they hear this, the weekend will be over, but I'll be in Notre Dame University this weekend checking out some stuff. So I'm kind of excited for it. But
Yeah,
hope
that's
you guys
cool.
had a nice, safe weekend though. Because this will
Right
be
on.
Monday morning, correct?
Yes, sir. I believe so.
Okay.
And hopefully I can get a day of golf in.
Yeah,
With this
I
weather,
hear you.
it'll probably
But
be
yeah,
a swamp, but we'll give it a go.
hope you guys have a good work week, and we'll see you guys on Friday, I guess.